All right, Craig. Things are going pretty good for the old Redlegs tonight.
It is. Is it going pretty well for the old Kirby clan as well?
It's going okay. It's going okay. These 640 games can go to hell, man. Like straight go to hell. Like it's like not even 9 o'clock and this game's about over. Like, come on, man. Oh,
sorry, bro.
It's all right.
If it makes you feel any better, it's 540 in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So
there's no way I'm doing 162 of these games next year. No chance. Like it's too much, man. Like
so 540 start in Tennessee. So after this game, I'm gonna go
eat some dinner.
Wow. Eat some dinner. And then I have to go pick up my mother-in-law from the airport, Kirby. She lands at 11:20 p.m. local time.
Oh, well, that's fun.
Yeah. So, just
what a night.
Casual hour round trip to pick up my mother-in-law,
Ooh.
Exactly what everybody wants to do at 11 o'clock on a Friday evening, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody in the chat is just wishing they had an opportunity to drive to the airport and pick up their mother-in-law right now. Blackmore says I should just leave her there.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd advise that. Craig, did you have any idea when you woke up today that Alan Busenitz was on the Reds roster? Because I didn't.
Well, he got added to the roster today.
Oh, was it today? Okay.
Yeah. Kirby really tuned in today with the Reds.
Yeah, I try.
But hey, we're gonna put together a quality show for everybody nonetheless. And look, I think I said it in a chat the other day, but excited to see the Chatterbox Reds community 3 times over the next 5 days. So filling in tonight, filling in tomorrow, and filling in Wednesday. Can't even remember off the top of my head now. I've got it on my calendar. That's all that matters. Tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Nick, I don't know where you are. I can promise you that I am behind you, but game day stays on track regardless. So,
well, I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, we don't have.
The scorebook that we have on the bottom had first and second. The TV had first and third. Although the Bart just scored a run on my actual TV. So.
Yeah. Joey Bart. Yeah, I think our little box score was a little bit ahead of you. But hey, double play.
There we go. There we go. All right.
8-2 Reds.
Let's go.
Let's see who's up. Rowdy. I don't even know why I'm watching the TV. Oh, man. Okay.
Well, it's 8-3.
8-3. Alan Busenitz. Making it fun.
Come on, Boozy.
I'm not about to break out the Cruz glasses for Alan Busenitz, so you better figure it out.
You mean the Diaz glasses?
What did I say? Cruz? I meant
Cruz
Diaz.
glasses.
Cruz needed them for a while too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Come
we got
on,
going on
Boozy.
this weekend?
My sister's in town, so my nephew has a hockey tournament somewhere around here, so do that, and then I do a post-game show after every game, so pretty much that's every day of my life.
Well,
All right,
let's
Boozy,
do this
get it
post-game show.
done. Woohoo! Reds win.
Bench to bench, change in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente, and the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball! He scored! Oh my God! Can you believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep. In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Hawkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Hatterberg's a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb. Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again. The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Win! Line into right field. Genius, the first Red ever. With 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to a career of Trey Bruce.
Oh. Thought I had it right. All right. Well, hey, friends, what's going on? Welcome into Chatterbox Reds. Nick Kirby along with Craig Sandlin on a good night for the old Cincinnati Reds as they defeat the Pittsburgh Pirates, something they haven't done a whole lot of in recent memory. 8-3, an absolute beatdown of Pittsburgh. Craig, my friend, how you doing?
I'm good. The Reds, with a sweep in this series, would salvage a season split with the Pirates. They come in 3-6 on the year. So
You sure about that? I thought it was 3 and 7.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should double check my notes.
Let's see. I thought they already lost it. Could be wrong.
Well,
No. I got 3 and 7. I just checked the old team versus team grid. Got 3 and 7. Unless ESPN's wrong.
Well, you know what? It's interesting. The Reds game notes, series notes. The Reds and Pirates are meeting for the 4th and final time this season. Pittsburgh has won each series in 2024. 2-1 at PNC Park on the 17th through the 19th of June, 2-1 at Great American Ballpark on the 24th through 26th of June, and 2-1 at Pittsburgh, 823 to 825. That would total 6-3, but in the regular season record versus there was a 4-game series that was not accounted for in the Reds game notes.
Oh no,
regular
they're
season
mailing it in
record
too.
versus 3 and 7. I know. Listen, I rely. First of all, I don't want to throw anybody on the bus. We really appreciate the Reds and then putting out the game notes. It helps me a lot, especially when Kirby doesn't do his game notes. But not only did they have that wrong, they didn't have any real game notes about Nick Martinez's last outing against Minnesota. I mean, they're just making me have to work a little bit harder tonight, Nick, to put on this great quality show that we're putting on a Friday evening that I'm sure hundreds, if not thousands of people are tuned in for live right now on YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah, the Reds are going to make those game notes private. Now on, we're just got them kicked off the internet.
Yeah. Oops.
But yeah, sorry to burst your bubble. I was like, I'm pretty sure
I tried
3 and 7 when I was looking it up last night, and I tweeted it out on the Chatterbox account earlier today. So I was like, ooh, I'm really.
Well, I guess I
really
should turn on my
down
notifications for the Chatterbox tweets anytime they go out. I need a notification, I guess.
But 4 and 7 now. But 4 and
4 and
Craig.
7. That's right. And now they are locked in to not leaving this series in the cellar of the NL Central.
Yep.
So they're guaranteed to at least be in 4th place after this series. What a world.
What a world. I mean, maybe one more win and you might permanently have the Pirates finish down there. But
there you go.
Craig, as always, we do a box score recap. I hope that you did one tonight because I sure as hell did not. So if you did,
if I told you I didn't, what are we gonna do?
We're gonna say the Reds won 8-3. Martinez pitched great. Tyler Stevenson had a good ball game.
Well, lucky for you, I have one with a little bit more details than that, as you can imagine. As always, the box score recap presented by Nicholas Kirby. Friday saw the Pirates visit the Reds for the first game of the final homestand of the season for the Reds in a battle to avoid the NL Central cellar. Nick Martinez on the mound for the Reds, going up against Mitch Keller for the Pirates. Tyler Stevenson would give Martinez and the Reds the early lead, driving a solo home run to center field for a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first. Martinez wouldn't give up his first hit until the top of the third, a double by Rowdy Tellez, but he would strike out 2 to escape the inning with no damage done. After 2 walks and an Elly De La Cruz base hit, Tyler Stevenson added 3 more RBIs to his total for the day. In the bottom of the third, he roped a bases-loaded double to left center. He would later score on a Ty France sacrifice fly, giving the Reds a 5-0 lead after 3. Jonathan India joined the fun, driving a solo home run to left field in the 5th to make it 6-0. De La Cruz would walk, then steal second base before Stevenson swung a ball down the right field line. Spencer Steer then doubled down the left field line, chasing Pirates starter Mitch Keller. TJ Friedel grounded out to first, but Tellez chose to throw home despite the trailing score. The throw was wide, allowed Tyler Stevenson to score, making it 8-0 Reds after 4. Martinez would strike out the side in the 6th to match his career high with 9 strikeouts. His day was done. 6 innings, 2 hits, 9 strikeouts. Again, no walks and no runs allowed. 57 of his 78 pitches went for strikes. In the top of the 7th, Oneil Cruz would drive the first pitch from Brent Suter to dead center for a solo home run. Alan Buznitz would allow 2 runs in the top of the 9th to reach the final score of 8-3. Mitch Keller went only 3 1/3. He gave up 7 hits, 8 earned runs, 5 walks on the day, and only 1 strikeout. India 2 for 4 with a walk and an RBI. Elly reached twice. Stevenson 3 for 5 with 5 RBI. Friedel and Fraley both reached twice as well. Reds improved to 75 and 80, while the Pirates dropped to 72 and 82.
And as always, we have a DSC deep drive of the game, and that will go to Jonathan India. He had the furthest hit ball of the day for the old Red Legs, his 15th home run of the year in the bottom of the fourth, put the Reds up 6-0. Exit velocity of 104.4, traveled 425 feet. And our deep drive of the day, sponsored as always by Deep South Commodities. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production. They specialize in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks as always to our friends at DSC. All right, well, I guess we start the night with Nick Martinez. Just another.
That's not where I thought you were going. Let's just say it. I thought we would for sure start the show with Tyler Stevenson, but we can start with Nick Martinez. That's fine. Let's do it.
I mean, Nick Martinez, 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs. Last 3 starts, a 0.47 ERA, 20 strikeouts, and 1 walk. This guy's been incredible for the Reds. I was very happy when I read Mark Sheldon's newsletter that came out earlier this week when he said that it's likely that they would offer him a qualifying offer. But it just, at this point, it becomes so obvious. It's almost getting to the point where now I'm like, he may actually decline the qualifying offer.
It's kind of crazy to think about, isn't it? If we would have talked a couple, maybe 2 months ago, I think there was no way the Reds would ever consider a qualifying offer. And, the conversation may be whether or not it was even worth picking up his second-year option to begin with. And now here we are, a couple months later, and Nick Martinez in September has gone 24 2/3 innings as a starter, given up only 13 hits, 2 earned runs during that time period, an ERA of 0.73 in the month of September. Batting average against sub 150. Look, I know you and Trace talked about it the other night. He's a guy that you might try to lock down for a couple years and see if he'll take a lower price for multiple years rather than one bigger year. I don't know. He seems to enjoy his time in Cincinnati. The question becomes, where does he fit in if you do re-sign him? I think, especially over the last, couple of weeks, he's definitely shown that maybe a starter is something that he could handle. I just don't know what the Reds rotation is going to look like in 2025 and whether or not he fits in as a starter. And if he does, that's great. And maybe it makes sense. But if he doesn't, it's really hard to justify a qualifying offer that's going to be in the $21-22 million range for a guy that you don't see in your starting rotation.
Yes and no. I think he would obviously line up, I think, on opening day as a starter. You're not planning on putting Burns in the opening day rotation. But let's play it out right now. With Brandon Williamson out, right now your starting rotation on opening day would be Hunter Green, Nick Lodolo, Andrew Abbott, Rhett Lauder, and
Ashcraft, maybe.
Yeah. So it's pretty clear to see. All right, move Ashcraft to AAA or the bullpen, put Nick Martinez in there, and that's assuming everyone's actually healthy on opening day, which we know is a very silly assumption, I think, going into the season. So you're going to need a starter, and Jacob Junis is probably ahead on the depth chart than Graham Ashcraft at this point. But either way, I think you're going to need a starter. So would maybe Nick Martinez be a little bit of overpay? Yes, maybe. But Nick Martinez has the flexibility. Like, you're kind of paying for that flexibility. So it's just, if you get into a situation where Burns goes to AAA, he looks like Skeens looked last year. He forces his way into the rotation by mid-May. And everyone miraculously stays healthy, well, then Nick Martinez easily slides to the bullpen, where if you go get a free agent like last year, there was several free agents that I really liked that actually had pretty good years, like Luis Severino is one that comes to mind, Michael Wacha. Can you move those guys to the bullpen? Probably not. Like it's going to be really hard to sign those guys and then, be like, all right, well, we're going to move to the bullpen now because our new shiny toy is ready to come up. Or Nick Martinez, that he can go back and forth. So that's why I think he has just like this extra value for the Reds. And, to me, I just think it's at this point a no-brainer. There's not a whole lot of players that accept that qualifying offer. I think, I could be wrong on this, I feel like there's only been one or two that have ever accepted. But Nick Martinez is the one that, if there is anyone that's going to accept, he's going to be kind of that guy, a guy that is 34 years old. And honestly, I kind of like 1 year, $20 million for Nick Martinez more than 2 years, $30 million. I know a lot of people might think that's crazy, but I kind of just like the 1 year commitment. You can kind of see how these other guys all fit next year. And then you don't have any money committed to the next year, just in case things do go south with a guy who's going to be 35. But I don't know. I think it's a no-brainer for the Reds, and it sounds like the Reds also, if their official beat writers saying that, probably think it's a no-brainer also.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I know there's been a lot of conversation about the need to potentially add a starting pitcher to the rotation for next year either way. Whether that's Nick Martinez or somebody else or both, I guess time will tell. I just think that the Reds are going to have to commit some money to offense, and whether or not they're comfortable committing $21 to $22 million to Nick Martinez on top of whatever they're going to commit offensively, that's the biggest question. They have plenty of room, don't get me wrong, but they also have not really shown a propensity to spend a ton of money. But if they think that they have an opportunity to compete, they're willing to do it. They're just not going to do it if they don't think they're World Series contenders. And I don't know what the front office is thinking right now. So if you take the what is it, $35 million that you have committed right now, and you add in another 20 plus to Nick Martinez, and then you add 2 offensive bats, and now all of a sudden you're at 85 plus million on less than 10 guys. Where does that leave you? And time will tell.
Yeah, I mean, but they did, like, this year have what, $30 million committed to Frankie Montas and Nick Martinez. So they do have some guys that are going to become more expensive next year. They have a couple guys that are going to start hitting arbitration, pre-arbitration. A couple players that are going to be more, but I don't think that a Nick Martinez qualifying offer should change that much. But again, I really don't know. Honestly, if someone told me to predict what the Reds payroll will be next year, I have no idea. And there's a lot of years that I feel like I could give you a pretty good educated guess, but with the reports that we're hearing about Bally, and it's not just the Reds. There's a lot of teams that have said with the uncertainty of Bally, we're going to have a hard time spending money on contracts. That's where I don't know. I don't know where the Reds are going to go. The Reds payroll the last since 2020 has just been, it almost doesn't make a whole lot of rhyme or reason. It was supposed to be $150 million in 2020, and then it was still like $125 million in 2021. The year after COVID, they cut, but they didn't cut that much. 2022, it was higher than it was this last year. So it's kind of like it's really hard to predict where it'll end up. So
is there any world where Nick Lodolo isn't in the starting rotation and we look at him in a bullpen role?
Me, I just who's taking Nick Lodolo's spot?
Well, I mean, again, I'm making the assumption that the Reds are interested in spending some money, right? And I think, I don't know. I mean, it's still early in the career, so it's hard to say that someone's injury prone or can't last a full season. But does that extend out his flexibility and durability to last longer and to give the Reds more by pitching out of the bullpen for a little bit, even if it's in a extended relief role? I don't really know. I'm just trying to think through and we'll have plenty of conversations about this offseason, I'm sure. I'm trying to make sense of spending $20 million on Nick Martinez and figuring out what the future of the Reds look like. And to your point, I mean, if Chase Burns is someone that you expect to be in your major league rotation either at the end of 2025 or in 2026, then a 1 year, $20+ million deal for Nick Martinez certainly makes a lot of sense. And I know you've always been pro higher cost, shorter length contracts. So if Nick Martinez is open to that, then certainly an opportunity. And we'll have plenty of opportunity to break that down as the offseason progresses. Yeah,
I mean, don't you wish the Reds would have, with their big bat this offseason, went out and made a 1 year commitment, even if the guy completely sucked? I mean, that's why I'm always pro, the 1 year deals. I'd rather have a lesser player that I only have a 1 year commitment.
Well, I'd rather have a better player in a 3 year 45 commitment or even a 3 year $75 million commitment, but that's neither here nor there.
I'm not talking a crazy lesser player. I'm not talking going from
Can you get lesser than Jeimer Candelario has been this year?
No, I meant like someone coming into the year.
I know.
But
I'm
it's just
kidding.
When you see like the Arizona Diamondbacks got like Jock Peterson on a 1 year deal and he's had like a monster year, and it's like, man, like that. And who knows? Maybe Jock Peterson, he got slapped by Tommy Pham at Great American Ballpark. Maybe he had no interest maybe in the Reds at all. But when you see like a deal like that, and now you're kind of stuck. And look, maybe Jeimer Candelario comes back next year, and it's a completely different conversation. But right now, there's no one in Major League Baseball that's going to take Jeimer Candelario's contract, and that's what makes it at this point a bad contract. So, but yeah. One last point on Nick Lodolo before we move on to Tyler Stevenson. I still like him as a starter. He's threw 115 innings this year. So if you move to reliever, he's not going to throw 115 innings. So you're still getting. I get like the injuries suck, and it sucks that it's constantly a start, stop. But you still got 115 innings out of him. Most of those innings were pretty quality up until the end when he really struggled. So even if Nick Lodolo has to spend two trips on the IL, he still probably gives you more value as a starter. And that's why guys like Nick Martinez and Jacob Junis in particular are really valuable to the Reds, because you can move them from reliever to starter, and they can kind of bounce back and forth and kind of, fill those roles when you're unfortunately have to kind of anticipate injuries for guys like Nick Lodolo. All right, Tyler Stevenson. My goodness, what a night for Tyler Stevenson. 3 for 5, 5 RBIs, a triple shy of the cycle. Just missed it. But no, I mean, Tyler Stevenson. I was looking up his baseball reference page early in the game after he hit that first home run, and I think maybe the most impressive thing for me with Tyler Stevenson this year, he doesn't have a single month where he had an OPS below 650. Like his worst month wasn't terrible, and he's been very consistent this year. And it's almost like Tyler Stevenson kind of blew our expectations out of the water early in the year, and then he's just kind of been consistent the rest of the year. So he's kind of flown under the radar a little bit. But the guys on off the bench were grading Reds players, and it got me thinking about Tyler Stevenson. I went back and looked at his ZiPS projection, and it's already like a full wins above replacement better than his projection. And that's going to obviously go up after a night like tonight. So, I mean, he might end up a full win and a half. If you're not familiar with that, I mean, that's a pretty big gap, especially for a guy I think was only projected for like 1.8 wins above replacement. So, yeah, I mean, a really incredible year for Tyler Stevenson. Knock on wood, he stayed healthy. That's the most important thing for him. And it's good to see him finishing this year strong, because his workload has increased dramatically, and for him still to be playing at a high level this late in the year, that to me is really, really encouraging going into next year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in August, Tyler Stevenson had a 1039 OPS. I mean, played in 25 games. He hit 330, 19 RBIs, 7 home runs in August. To your point, September and October right now are technically his lowest OPS on the year, but I think tonight will change that a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, he's been consistent. He's been probably, for me, if I'm being honest, the most surprising player for the Reds this year. I think a lot of people were ready to move on or at least have other options other than Tyler Stevenson. And now it's more like, man, I can't believe we even thought about moving on from this guy. And, you know, he's brought a lot. He's brought a lot of leadership. The Reds are certainly going to have to figure out what to do at the backup catcher position next year. But the fact that you have your leader of the battery locked in and on your team is really good. And I know he's probably on your radar, but he's probably a top 2 target for extension this offseason if you're the Reds, right? Between him and Elly De La Cruz. So, I mean, can't ask for a whole lot more out of him. And not only is he getting it done at the plate offensively, but defensively he's also taken a huge step forward and is much better both in terms of blocking and catching and framing, and all of those things add up to a really, really quality catcher, and one that if he performs like this again could definitely see kind of being recognized with an all-star nod or something along those lines.
I'm not against the Tyler Stevenson extension. It would have to be pretty short, though, I think. It would have to be almost like a Hunter Green type extension. You still have 2 more years of him, 28 and 29. He becomes a free agent for his year 30. So, I mean, look, if you get him maybe 2 more years, his age 30, his age 31, maybe even 32, I think I could be good with that. I'm not going too much deeper than that just with a catcher. As good as Tyler Stevenson's been, he's like at that fringe all-star level, I think, right now. So for me to like want to sign a catcher just because of how much wear and tear those guys have, you better be like a bona fide all-star. So I need to see a little bit more to want to go further than that. But shout out to Tyler Stevenson. He's going to get a big pay raise these next 2 years. Being a catcher, performing the way he has. So he's going to be a guy that's going to, put up the payroll a little bit. I mean, not too crazy number. He was only at $2.5 million this year. And most of that was just because of injuries for him. That really kind of, the catcher's been in arbitration get pretty expensive. You looked at a guy like, I think Austin Hedges one year was making $8 million. I mean, catchers can cost some money. So Tyler Stevenson will certainly, get quite the raise this year and even more the next. But any other final thoughts, Craig, on Tyler Stevenson?
No, I mean, I just think he gives you enough offensively that if you were to supplement him with a quality backup catcher, he wouldn't have to have the wear and tear that he's getting this year.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're being honest, if Luke Maile was serviceable, no offense, Tyler Stevenson wouldn't have to catch 120 games, right? So, I mean, if you go out and you can sign him to somewhat of an extension, I agree. It can only just, lock him down for the next 3 to 5 years, and, avoid arbitration with him, make him feel good so that, he's got confidence going into the future, put a decent backup catcher behind him so that, let's say he catches 85 to 90 games next year and then DHs an additional 50 to 60, right? Like you still give him days off. You still give him an opportunity to rest and keep his body healthy, but you keep his bat in the lineup. Maybe there's an opportunity there with a quality backup where right now, quite frankly, you're kind of handcuffed where you can't give him days off the way you really would typically do in a typical catcher rotation in the major leagues. I mean, we're not in the days of catchers catching 120 to 130 or even 140 games like we used to. I mean, if you had somebody behind him that could give you quality games and not have to worry about being a complete liability, maybe that changes. And so Tyler Stevenson being at the DH, Tyler Stevenson getting real days off, I'm not opposed to that idea. I agree that if he's going to catch 120 games a year, that his body's going to break down quicker. But I think that the Reds can do something to supplement that and avoid that. And we'll see. I don't know. I think backup catcher is a position that they have to address this offseason, though. I can't I can't imagine going into 2025 with Luke Maley, no offense, as your backup catcher.
Yeah, the Reds have had a really bad run with catchers that they've drafted behind Tyler Stevenson. I mean, obviously Tyler Stevenson's been a massive success. What was he, like the 15th pick or something like that? I mean, that's a pretty. He's been a massive success, but they've had several second-round picks that have just not turned out at all. I love Alfredo Duno, but he's been hurt all year, and he's only in Daytona. He has the potential to be an all-star caliber catcher, but he's still so far away that you're going to have to find someone to on the free agent market to help Tyler Stevenson, unless someone just kind of comes out of nowhere and has a breakout, kind of a campaign. I know the Reds love Michael Trotwine, but I don't know how many at-bats I could watch of Mr. Trotwine in the big leagues next year if he was the backup, because it was rough to watch at the AA level. All right.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I was just going to say, to your point, Duno is the only catcher in the top 30 prospect rankings for the Reds. He comes in at number 7, but, again, like you said, he's been injured. He's playing at A ball. I mean, they have him as a projected ETA of 2028. So
that might be generous.
Yeah.
If we're being completely honest. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. There's there anyone else I like in this system? Connor Burns, he's with Dayton right now. Connor Burns and Cade Hunter, they maybe, like, you could squint and maybe, but they're still in Dayton. They were both college bats though, so they're a little bit of a different situation than Duno. I believe it's Duno, actually, if we're saying it properly. Logan Tanner's been a massive disappointment. That was a guy the Reds loved. Second round pick out of Mississippi State. He has just had brutal numbers. But Burns and Hunter, I don't know. Maybe get lucky and one of those guys kind of come out of nowhere, but you'd have to really, I think, get lucky. All right, Craig. Well, there's only 2 games left for the Cincinnati Reds at Great American Ballpark this year. And I tell you what, they are 2 really good ones. So I know it's been a rough season for our beloved Redlegs, but you got Rhett Lauder against Jared Jones on a Saturday afternoon matinee game. And then Sunday, Hunter Green, it's now official, against Paul Skeens. Doesn't get much better than that. Also got Monday Night Football, I believe, at Cincinnati. Craig, Mr. Chatterbox Bengals, Washington Commanders. So a lot of good events. Be sure to check out the Game Time app for that. That's the only place that you'll want to look for tickets. They got a new feature called Game Time Picks. Makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I personally love the seat view. Gives you a really great perspective of where the tickets are at and what it looks like actually from your seat. That's what I love to use from Game Time. So again, be sure to check out the Game Time app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Cincy for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code Cincy, CINCY, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Craig, what time is it?
Game time.
Nailed it. And as always, if you need help, call or text 988 for free and confidential support 24/7. The Ohio Suicide Prevention Foundation, always there for you. 988, call or text that. If you have a friend in Pittsburgh, might want to send that their way. Man, that team, Craig, they were buyers at the trade deadline. They were buyers. It's been tough. So, but they have 988. Also visit mantherapy.org. It's okay not to be okay. And the Pittsburgh Pirates, they are certainly not okay. All right.
I was gonna make a joke when you said what time is it? I was gonna say productivity. I thought that might be appropriate. But listen, I'll save my jokes for not while we're pubbing our partners. Nick, I think the next stop is Elly De La Cruz.
Oh, okay.
I see you thinking.
I hate talking about Elly De La Cruz.
I know you do. And look, stolen base in the fourth tonight. Elly became the first player to steal 100 bases and have 30 home runs in his first 2 seasons in MLB history. Only 2 players previously had 100 stolen bases in their first 2 seasons. Those are Vince Coleman and Ricky Henderson. He also became the fastest player in MLB history with 100 stolen bases and 100 extra base hits. Nick, what contract are you giving Elly De La Cruz this offseason?
I mean, I'll give. He can own the franchise. I don't. You want stake in the Reds? You want to own the Great American Skyscraper? Like, you want to own FC Cincinnati? I don't care. Like, there's no number that's too high. The question is just, is Elly interested? And I don't know that answer. I hope it's yes. Craig, do we take him for granted? I mean, I don't think I do, but like, you just see stuff like this. And I know stolen bases are a little bit easier to obtain with the current rules than they were in previous years, but still, I mean, like, Elly's been great, but he's not even anywhere close to like his peak, right? And he's doing stupid stuff like this.
I think he makes it look so easy that people get blinded by the negativity. And yeah, I think maybe take for granted is not the right word, but I think they get distracted by other things and lose sight of the things that he's blowing people out of the water with, right? Like, I mean, yes, he's got the errors. Yes, he strikes out a lot, but like, and I think, quote unquote, Facebook Fred gets distracted by those things. And if we're being honest, I mean, I think I've fallen in the trap before of people hype up superstars as they rightfully should, right? And we as fans get this mental expectation of those superstars to provide us night in and night out entertainment. And it's just not realistic, especially in the sport of baseball. I'm guilty of it with Joe Burrow of, thinking that maybe he hasn't lived up to expectations in certain opportunities. But like, the fact of the matter is that he's a top 2 quarterback in the NFL. And here we are criticizing, his output. And like, I think we do the same thing with Elly De La Cruz. We're told time and time again that he's the next MLB superstar. And obviously Shohei Ohtani with his amazing night last night, like, Elly De La Cruz has the ability to also go 50-50. The difference is that Elly De La Cruz has the ability to go 50, like 80. And, I think the world, rightfully so, is going crazy over Shohei Ohtani. I think Reds fans need to be thinking, okay, when Elly De La Cruz is also in his 8th year or whatever year Ohtani is in, what is he going to look like at that point when he's even more accustomed to the MLB lifestyle and to the MLB talent? I mean, I'm all in on Elly. I mean, I'm with you. I think rightfully so. He's probably going to garner somewhere in the $30 to $40 million range per year for an extension. And I'm not really hesitating to do it. And I realize that the Bally contract makes it difficult. I realize that there's a lot of things that go into it. But having to pay a guy $30 million and what he brings to this ball club and to this city, hard to put a number on it.
Yeah, I can be a little more sympathetic with the Bally contract in terms of like you're spending for 1 year or another, but like Elly De La Cruz, that should have nothing to do with that, because this is a guy that changes your franchise for a decade plus. So no matter, the poorest franchise in baseball could afford an Elly De La Cruz contract. It just makes the rest of your team building a little more difficult, but I don't really think it makes it that much more difficult. I think you have a 7-win player like that's worth a lot of money. That's worth 25%, 30% of your payroll if it has to be that. So I think there's no excuse. But again, it also comes down to, does Elly De La Cruz want to sign a contract? think the best thing that could happen for the Reds, Greg, this offseason would be if it may be bad. Fans are going to get really mad if this happens. But if the Reds don't spend anything because like all these other teams don't spend anything and this whole Bally thing becomes a big thing and Scott Boras has another bad offseason, that's maybe the best thing that could happen for an Elly De La Cruz extension, casting that doubt. So I don't really support the whole owner collusion. I don't. Let me be clear. I don't support owner collusion. But if that was to happen, it might not be the worst thing for the Reds and Elly De La Cruz if there's doubt that, because I'm sure Scott Boras is telling Elly, do not sign a contract, do not sign a contract. I'm sure that's what he's being told right now, but I don't know. Will Elly listen to that? That's the other part of this.
Yeah, only time will tell. And again, I think giving him another off season now that he's faced an entire year of major league pitching and being able to focus on the things that really gave him fits this year. And for me, that's balls on the inside part of the plate. I think as I watch Elly over the course of the year, he really got fooled a lot on the inner half of the plate and kind of bailing out on balls that were over the inside corner. So if I'm him, I'm spending a lot of time working on pitch recognition, working on reacting to pitches rather than guessing, and specifically working on balls on the inside part of the plate. I mean, there's no reason that he shouldn't be yanking balls into the river on a semi-regular basis, the way that teams are pitching him inside. And it didn't happen this year, but give him an offseason to really work on things that have been exposed over the course of this year. And I think he's got an opportunity to really take a step forward in what I guess is his second full year in the majors. And I don't know if you call that a sophomore season or a junior season for him, but nonetheless, his second full season in the majors.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Jonathan India, as mentioned, our deep drive of the day. Another 2-hit day for Jonathan India. His kidneys have a solid season. I mean, he's got a 750 OPS. Again, solid year. I see Will Benson getting a start, got on base, stole a base. Some of us might have had, Will Benson stole a base plus 450. So shout out to those of us who might have had that on this evening. Anything else from tonight's game, Craig, that stood out to you that you feel is riveting and needs a conversation for our watchers right now and our podcast listeners in the morning?
Well, I don't know that I would say it's riveting. It's I found this article from 2 weeks ago when I was doing some research on something else. And I wanted to ask you a question. You just brought up Jonathan India. So this article is from Bleacher Report. So take it for what it's worth. And it's from September 6th. And it's projecting the starting lineup of every MLB team in 2025. And for the Reds, leading off, playing third base, they have Jonathan India. Do you buy or sell, one, Jonathan India being on this team in 2025? I think we both do. I don't think that's really a question. Do you buy him starting at third base over Noelvi Marte in 2025?
I don't think the Reds would move him to third base. I think Jonathan India's on this team. I mean, it would be kind of hilarious if somehow they trade him this offseason after they've tried to trade him for 2 years. And like now he gets traded when they kind of need any bats they can get right now. I don't think they would do that. I think there's a good chance the Reds try to bring in a stopgap third baseman. I really think an Eugenio Suarez reunion makes so much sense for where the Reds are. Now, maybe the Diamondbacks decided to bring him back, but the Diamondbacks reportedly were trying to trade him at the trade deadline. So he might be sour on that. I don't know. But he's been really good defensively still. He's had a very inconsistent season, but overall, I think his numbers are at least big league average. So I think a guy like him makes sense. I don't know. I don't see India at third base. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't.
Well, just to punch some holes in this projection, which again, it's Bleacher Report. you can do with it as you want, right? I'm trying to see. Joel Reuter wrote it. But just to punch some more holes, first and foremost, the thing that stands out to me is that they don't have a single person in the starting lineup that's not currently on the Reds.
Yeah,
and I think that's hard to believe, right? So
there's no way they're not gonna. There's going to be a move this offseason that none of us see coming. That's one thing I feel very confident of. I don't know what it's going to be, but there's going to be a move this offseason that comes out of left field. I think there's going to be a trade this offseason that's going to piss some people off. I don't know what it is. I have a few speculations, but I do think there'll be a couple. I think maybe a couple trades that people are going to scratch their head at, and hopefully it's a puzzle and they're trying to piece it all together. But I will say this. I think it's more likely Christian Encarnacion Strand plays at third base in 2025 than Jonathan India. Speaking of Christian Encarnacion Strand, he is going to play in the Arizona Fall League, which is really cool to see. I haven't kept up enough on the Arizona Fall League. I didn't know that players that played in the big leagues could play in the Fall League, but I guess they can. I know someone asked me about Matt McClain. I do feel like Matt McClain, I'm assuming there's probably no rules for the Arizona Fall League. Like teams are allowed to use it however they want. But a guy like Matt McClain, I feel like that might be a little bit beneath him, where Christian Encarnacion Strand, he hadn't really established himself as a big leaguer yet. So it's a little bit more, I don't know. Matt McClain would look very weird in the Arizona Fall League based on a guy who's watched a little bit of it, when I can. But I'm excited that CES is going to get some games. You don't want to take too much stock in those numbers because I remember Matt McClain in particular was awful in the Arizona Fall League. And then that was the year before last year, and obviously ended up putting up great numbers in the big league. So I would put a whole lot of stock in it, but I do think him getting some actual games and some reps and some pretty real competition down there and facing some of the top arms from some of these teams and their prospects. I think that'll be really good for him.
So Nick, let's talk about this for a second, if you don't mind. Obviously, yes, CES is expected to play in the Arizona Fall League. Any player currently under contract with an MLB organization is eligible to be nominated for the Arizona Fall League. Teams may nominate 4 pitchers and 3 position players. So CES takes one of the position player positions. Are there 2 other guys that you would like to see in the Arizona Fall League for the Reds this offseason?
Well, Edwin Arroyo's already been announced too.
Okay, well there you go. I missed that one. So there you go.
Yeah,
so you got
he
one.
Was announced like a long time ago. Yeah.
Okay.
So wow, look at you. Look at Big J journalism, Craig. Find out the rules. Okay, so I have one more position player.
One more position player.
Tyler Callahan, no question about it. He's a 40-man choice. That's why you need more data on him. He's been hurt a lot this year. I think the Reds should keep him, but I would like to see some more data on him. So he would be my choice, and it wouldn't really be close. So do you have anyone in mind?
I don't know the philosophy well enough behind the Arizona Fall League to know what a team may be leaning. I'd really like to see someone like Cam Collier get some at-bats against some upper-level talent that is participating in the Arizona Fall League and see what he can do in that kind of a setting. I also think that he ended the season pretty well, and having an opportunity for him to continue that might serve him beneficial going into 2025. So he was one name that I thought about going into it. It used to be, just again, doing some research, it used to be that only triple or double A players were even eligible for the Arizona Fall League, and that changed in 2021. So, there is an opportunity for maybe someone like Cam Collier or one of the other young talents in this Sal Stewart of sorts that maybe are younger in the organization that the Reds want to put up against some higher competition and get them some more higher competition at bats to prepare them for spring training and compete for a spot at a higher level within the organization coming into 2025. So I don't 100% know. I'm also working on pulling up.
While you're doing that, Cam Collier actually did on his Instagram stories talk about some Big J journalism. Had a picture of Arizona after the season ended. Now I don't know. I don't know if they send some of these minor league guys out to the Arizona Complex League for like a end of the year powwow or your exit interview for the season, or I don't know. I don't know how that works. I mean, I know a lot of like their stuff and media stuff is done out there. Cam Collier, I don't know if I would want him in the Arizona Fall League just because at 19 years old, he's been healthy all year. I don't know if I really want him like pushed that, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that might be really extending his season. I don't know. South Stewart, if he's healthy, would make more sense to me because he missed a long period of time. I think he sliced his thumb open or something. But I know he was back in the cages. I did see some video of him in the cages, so he would make more sense to me. Pitchers wise, it's hard to know because again, it's more of who has innings. Jose Acuna would make a lot of sense. Craig, he was hurt a lot this year. Healthy at the end of the year, was at AAA, but he's a Rule 5 eligible guy, so you need to make a decision on him. He's one that would make a lot of sense. I think Connor Phillips didn't throw a ton of innings this year. Might make a lot of sense. Although, honestly, I could see the Reds also just saying, hey, he finished the year on a high note. We're on to 2025. So I wouldn't blame them either way. You get 3 pitchers, Craig?
4 pitchers.
4 pitchers.
Yep.
Man, that's where it's tough. It's really tough because it's just who has innings left. I have no idea.
The other thing I'm trying to find, who did the Reds send last year?
I know Sam Ben-Schuster went there, but I think that was 2 years ago because that's the only reason I knew his name is I was tracking him. Last year the Reds said Hurtubise.
Right. Yep, I remember that.
Last year was Bryce Hubbard.
Yep.
Michael Trotwine, Austin Callahan, Zach Maxwell, some guy I've never heard of, Andrew Moore, and Carson Spires. Carson Spires was out there last year. So,
okay.
I don't even know. Javian Sandridge, is he even in the Reds system anymore?
Can't say that one stands out to me.
He's in the Baltimore Orioles system, so that's why, yes. I was like, I look through these box scores every day, and I do not remember that name. So, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I guess the pitchers, I mean, Spires and Zach Maxwell, I mean, 2 of the guys that really have kind of flourished to an extent in the Reds system, and Spires into the big leagues. And Andrew Moore has had an up and down season, but he had some good moments this year. He finished the year with Chattanooga. He was at Dayton. He actually was up and down between both a couple times. So, but yeah. The year before, though, was Noelvi Marte and Matt McClain.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and the pitchers were, I think, all garbage.
Part of it is I don't know any sort of update, but like, what about a guy that missed all season like Ty Floyd? Like, is there any? I don't even know if he's back and like ready to participate in that. But I think
he was out for the whole year.
He was.
So I don't think he didn't have the full ACL surgery. I don't know. I think he's done for the year. So I don't know. But that's the kind of
he had shoulder surgery in May, it looks like. So like
that's the kind of concept. Is more, I think, guys that need innings.
Yeah.
I feel like Zach Maxwell might have been hurt last year, and so he was trying to finish out innings. Carson Spires was interesting. I don't remember him pitching in the fall league at all, and he was on the big league roster at one point last year. I feel like I would have remembered that. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway. So CES will go to the Arizona Fall League. Announced at the same time, Matt McClain expected to go into some instructional league games this fall. I know you and Trace are both on board with him getting as many at-bats as possible prior to spring training next year.
Yep.
So
Yep.
no, you're not upset about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, maybe Matt McClain will get to play a little bit with Sheng Lin. I mean, oh, do you have it?
Got him.
Oh, for the podcast listeners, Craig is putting up his not one but two Sheng Lin cards, and Craig, when those are worth millions of dollars, I just want to thank you. That's all I want.
Absolutely. Let's be honest. The only reason I've been following Sheng Lin is because you give me an update on him almost every night and how he's doing. So I appreciate you, and certainly when these become worth millions of dollars to some Taiwanese collector, I'll remember this day.
Did Oneil Cruz look disinterested playing center field to you? Or is that just the way he plays?
I think he always looks disinterested.
He
Always
looked he looked so annoyed that he had to catch a fly ball. I don't know. Maybe it's just him. It looked like he was annoyed.
Even when he was like rounding the bases after his home run, though, he didn't really look like he was that excited to have to be there. A coworker of mine told me, especially that now that the Reds are playing the Pirates, that anytime I refer to Elly, I need to call him the La Creme de la Cruz, because he is so much better than Oneil Cruz. And just in general, he is La Creme de la Creme. So
I respect that. That.
So shout out to Brett for giving me that little tidbit.
All right, a little who, what, when, and how and why, Craig. Fun matchup tomorrow, Craig.
It is a fun matchup all weekend.
Yeah, I'm excited. Reds have not faced Jared Jones this year, correct?
They have not faced Jared Jones this year. He missed 40-something games on the IL, so I think they missed him this year.
Yeah, so... Yeah, Rhett Lauder, I mean, he's been obviously incredible. Jared Jones has been really good for the Pirates. This will be a fun matchup. Good good for probably both of these guys to get to pitch against each other. I'm sure both teams are kind of excited about that. Craig, any thoughts on Rhett Lauder and kind of his season so far, and anything you're looking towards tomorrow?
Well, look, I mean, I can't imagine that many people expected him to be throwing the ball the way that he is. He's coming off of a outing at Minnesota where he unfortunately took the loss, 5 1/3, 6 hits, 3 earned runs in that one, struck out 5, only threw 77 total pitches in that outing. Compared to his previous outings up over 80. So interested to see how he performs coming off of his loss. Sitting at 1-2 on the season with a 1.74 ERA. Combine that with his 6-4 record and 3.64 MILB ERA. I mean, he's looked really good. And, another guy that just, probably didn't expect to have to step in this year, but certainly kind of earned himself into conversation about next year and whether he starts in the starting rotation. And to your point, Jared Jones, rookie season, and he's looked pretty good. He did miss a number of starts due to that injury, but in his last start went 4 innings, 2 runs, no decision against the Royals. He's 1-1 with a 5.06 ERA in 4 starts since being reinstated from the injured list. He missed 46 games with that right lat strain. The Pirates, however, 5-1 in his last 6 starts. Ranked 7th among all National League rookies in ERA at 3.85 and tied for 4th in strikeouts at 120.
Very good.
Going to be a tough matchup for the Reds.
It also is possible that this is Rhett Lauder's final start of the year. I could see the Reds, because the Reds only have Hunter Green starting on Sunday. They only have 5 more games and they have off days. So it's possible that the Reds say, hey, we want you to get to do one more start at home, and we're going to go and shut you down for the year. They haven't said anything one way or the other. I'm just speculating that is a possibility. I could see them doing that. So might be the last time we get to see Rhett Lauder. And if it is, you'd like to see him in the season on a high note. Well, I bought enough time. Just went final. The Louisville Bats. How about that? They won 6-4 today over Omaha, 66-81. And Craig, Chase Petty finished the year on a high note, baby. 5 innings, 3 hits, 0 runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Chase Petty, 2 starts at AAA to end the year, 1.80 ERA. So you do love to see that. Man, I'm excited for Chase Petty. I'm really happy that his season ended strong. The Reds they needed Chase Petty and Connor Phillips to end the year strong, and boy, did they end the year strong. So that's great to see. So shout out to my guy, Chase Petty. Ian Jabot, man, he's struggling. He gave up another run, 13.5 ERA in his rehab assignment at AAA. So
when did that start? Do you remember?
I think this is his 4th game, if I'm tracking him. I mean, this is all in my head, Greg. I don't even. I wish I did not know how many games Ian Jabot has pitched since he came back. Today was his third game. So I was wrong. Yeah. And I was Craig. I was wrong too. He had games in Louisville in April. So that ERA is not reflective of his current. His current is 21.6 ERA.
I'm so glad you clarified that for us.
Yeah. I have a feeling Ian Jabot is not going to make it back to the big leagues this year.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because he, as a pitcher, he gets 30 days down there. So hard to imagine that they look at that and say, yep, that's somebody that we definitely got to recall up to the major league roster.
Unless
granted,
someone...
every single day they are shifting, and you saw it today, obviously. You didn't even know that they had brought back up Alan Buznitz. So, I'm sure tomorrow Buznitz will go back down and they'll bring somebody else up. So maybe it's Ian Jabot.
Maybe Ian Jabot will get a game in the final game of the year or something. Interesting about Ian Jabot, I wonder if he's going to keep his roster spot this offseason. I don't know. I mean, he was obviously incredible for the Reds last year, but hasn't stayed healthy all year. Is he a guy that you want to hold a 40-man roster spot for all off season? Where is he at contract-wise? I feel like he might be
He's ARB eligible. He's only making $750,000 this year. He's probably not going to get much of a raise, if anything. He's going to be 31, Nick.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I don't know if the Reds are going to hold a 40-man spot for him.
They've got a couple decisions that they've got to make with the Rule 5 draft and whether or not they want to protect some of these guys. So, they end up being one of those casualties.
Yeah. That's kind of, and that's something that we'll obviously have to get a lot more into the offseason. But when you start really digging through who you can keep and who you don't, it's really tough. It is really tough. But also in this game, my guy Tyler Callahan had a double, 1 for 4. The double was smoked. Really good at bat. 7-pitch at bat. Actually did get to see that one. Nick Martini 1 for 4. Hurtaby's got the day off. Davis Wenzel 2 for 3. Avon Johnson 0 for 3 with a walk. Also stole a bag tonight. So shout out to Avon Johnson. All right, Craig, any final thoughts?
No, not particularly. You want to end it on a fun note? I don't know. Maybe it'll be fun to you or not. Our friend Reds Daily put out a tweet today. I don't know if you saw it or not. Question was, what has been your favorite moment of this disappointing Reds season? Anything stand out?
What's your moment? Give me a second.
I've had a little bit more time to think about this than you have. I am going to go with the Reese Hines week. I think that was my favorite kind of call it a moment, call it a stretch, call it whatever you want. That week where Rece Hines just caught storm and took us all by surprise. I think that's probably up there with me. Do you want some other options that have been thrown out there, or you just want to think on it your own?
Well, the CES walk-off, I mean, on that was the Easter. I mean, that was pretty cool. The Steer Grand, I mean, really the first week of the season was awesome. The Steer Grand Slam in the 10th inning in Philadelphia. I don't know. I mean, sweeping the Yankees was pretty cool.
Yep.
Sweeping the Dodgers was pretty cool. Sweeping the Cubs, what was it? That was a 7-game win streak. Felt like the boys were really about to. No, they didn't sweep the Cubs. They won 3 of 4, but they won the first 3. Was the 7-game win streak. They got to 32 and 33. It felt like they were about to crawl back out of the brutal May, and it didn't end up happening. But that was pretty cool. I mean, that run there was a lot of fun. As someone who does the show every day, that was one of our better stretches of the year in terms of viewership and stuff. So people were really excited. And then really, honestly, after that, I mean, there was like that Yankee series was cool. And there was some good moments, but after they didn't kind of keep the momentum going from that 7, I would say after they lost the next 2, I think the Reds fandom dipped after that. And I'm just going strictly off of a guy that does the show and looks at the numbers. You can kind of see that's when the fan interest really declined, when they didn't sustain that. So, yeah.
So a couple other ones. Elly stealing his way home.
Okay.
Stuart Fairchild inside the park home run against the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
Got to put that up there for you, right?
Yeah.
Sweeping the Dodgers.
Yep.
The Steer home run to go ahead in the 9th against Colorado to complete the sweep. Stuart Fairchild robbing like 3 different home runs in the span of a week earlier in the year. The Yankees sweep, CES walk-off, / the back-to-back homers, Nick Martini opening day. Rece Hines, obviously. So, yeah, lots of exciting ones this year. Unfortunately, just didn't add up to what we'd hope. So, the India Grand Slam against the Dodgers.
Yeah, baseball's a funny game because obviously the season was an incredible disappointment. And there wasn't really like a season that the season just didn't have a ton of comeback wins and a lot of it. But there still is you can still go through and easily handpick 10 moments. And if you just put them in a video back to back to back, like, wow, that must have been an awesome season, And you could do that for the 2022 Reds. Like that's what makes baseball cool is, even maybe the White Sox might be the one team that it might be hard to put that kind of montage together, but just about every other team in baseball, you could put a pretty cool montage together of great moments of the season. And you don't get that in a lot of other sports. So shout out to baseball.
Shout out to baseball. Shout out to Blackmore. Second favorite moment was baby Betty being born.
Yes. Baby Betty being born was great. The Reds losing the first 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of her life was not. So yeah, nothing like stress baby
man.
Every freaking night.
All right, Nick. Let's wrap it up. We'll be back tomorrow for Chatterbox Reds in the 9th inning of the Reds and Pirates. First pitch at 1:10 p.m. Eastern.
Unless it rains. If it rains, I'm going to tell you tomorrow. I did see there's some rain in the forecast. If it rains tomorrow, we'll be doing a night show. And if it's just me, I'll be doing a night show by myself. My sister is in town. She's coming over at 5. So there is some sort of rain delay. I'm not doing a show in the 9th inning. But as long as the game's normal, I'll be ready to go. If somehow it's delayed, we'll see you later in the night.
Either way, I'm available. And we'll put on a show for the people.
All right. Well, have a great night, everyone. Like the stream on your way out. Chatterbox Bearcats tomorrow. I think UC plays at some point against someone. So check out that show. I got to make a graphic for Chuck. And Chatterbox Bengals Monday night.
Come on, man. The Bearcats host the Houston Cougars tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. That
Noon,
might not be
Craig.
true.
It's not
Noon
11.
Eastern.
It's not
It says 11. It says 11 on my computer. It's probably Central. Listen, we're not going to do time zones at 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night, okay? The Bearcats are 2-1 going into a matchup with the Houston Cougars, an opportunity to get their first home Big 12 win. Get fired up, Nick.
Yeah.
Chuck will be live after the game to give you the full rundown. And don't forget, as Nick mentioned, Monday Night Football. Jacob Tissett live with you all game long, taking you through that one. I'll join him post game for the recap.
Take care,
We
everyone.
love you all.